Springfield. I am Dominique Gabriella, and today we are here with Ivy King for Behind the Scenes. So thank you so much for joining and being part of the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's start out with, are you originally from Springfield, Missouri?
So I moved to Springfield when I was 18 to go to college here at Central Bible College. Oh. So I'm originally from Tulsa, but I've lived here my entire adult life. Recently.
Until recently, and where are you living now?
My wife is a travel nurse, so we had the bright idea to go travel the world, and then the pandemic hit.
Oh, goodness.
So we have been LA, Portland.
Yeah.
We're in Dallas, but we're about to head back to LA.
Oh, wow. So how long have you been playing music in general?
So I started playing when I was 13. I started playing drums in a church, and bless those people for letting me play in services, because I'm sure it was not great. But so I taught myself how to play drums when I was 13, and then kept teaching myself how to play drums, I guess. I'm still teaching myself, whatever. But I started then, and then I really only played in churches until I was 26. And due to some circumstances of myself deconstructing and things like that, I no longer played at church for quite a while. But I started playing out in venues for the first time when I was like 27.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you play anything else besides the drums?
I do. I started singing probably around like 25, 26. I mean, obviously, we all sing in the showers and stuff.
Right,
but
right.
I didn't realize that I could like actually kind of sing until I was about 25, 26, and started that. And then after some band switches and things like that, 2 years ago, I started teaching myself how to play piano.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm not really a pianist, but I can play enough
to get a song out there.
Yes. Yeah. And like mild guitar, but mainly Smoke on the Water is my
yeah. That's awesome. So what bands are you currently in?
Currently I am doing my solo project, which, do you even call it a project when it's your own self?
I mean, yeah, I would think so. I mean, it is a project because you are working on it.
I am my own project. Perfect.
You're on your own project.
Yes, so Ivy King, and then I play with the Mixtapes.
The Mixtapes.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. And how long have you been with the Mixtapes the whole time?
No. So they were a band prior to me, and then they had a drummer that was switching over, and at the time I was in a duo called Lux, which was Springfield-based duo with Jake Wesley Rogers, the two of us. I was in Lux, and they saw me play drums a few times with that, and when their drummer left, they asked if I would want to come play cover music with them. So started that, like, I think I've been in that band for 5 or 6 years now.
Oh, wow. So what's the hardest thing you have found about being a musician?
Oh, God. That's a big question. How to make money. That's a big one. And it just depends. Like, it's very different in different worlds. So cover music is a little different than original music. Still trying to figure out how to make money in original music. Stay relevant. My sound, that's been a big thing, like what I want to sound like as an original artist, how I want to portray myself. All those things are very difficult to kind of nail down, and I overthink them way too much sometimes. Trying to stop doing that. But then in the cover world, I don't know. It's fun. I don't know.
It's fun. Yeah. Do you have any influences with your music, or do you just have your own sound, do you think?
Anybody that says they don't have influences is lying.
Liars.
Yeah, I have a lot of influences. Like, some of my favorite artists, it's so broad, I think. Like, John Mayer is one of my ultimate favorite guitarists. I don't even play guitar. But I love him, and I know he's influenced me because I've just listened to him for so long. So I would say maybe like in the drum world, because Steve Jordan is his drummer, I would say in that aspect, like that has really made me stick to the like natural drum sound or more of the like soul in music, whereas I have major influences like Lady Gaga, which is super pop, and those synth sounds, so kind of very different spectrums, but I think that both of them like influence my music quite a bit. Love Maggie Rogers. She's newer. She's kind of influenced me in some ways that is more inspirational as far as like really just staying true to yourself, which I think is most important when you're trying to do art, which can be hard because art is hard and scary.
Yes, because of rejection.
Yeah, nobody wants to be rejected. Yeah. Writing original music, that is really the hardest thing. Like for me, at least, staying vulnerable and letting my art be seen is very scary to do.
So when writing your music, what do you usually base it off of? Is it just everyday things that you go through, or is there things that you sing about, just friends or what they go through? Do you have a formula of writing, your songs?
Yeah. Main formula is I try to write every day. I try to stay consistent with it because art and creativity, like while I am always constantly looking for a muse and like something to spark something within my soul creatively. I think the having a formula and a way to write like structurally is really important, so I try to practice it every single day. I throw a lot of shit out, but I try to do that.
What do you write about exactly? Is it stuff that you just go through every day, like you were just talking about your writing process, but are there certain stories behind like really big stories, or just
yes and yes? So right now, I think it's always shifting for me. So I can't say that it's ever going to be the same, because I am always trying to write from my personal experiences and experiences that I see that other people are going through. But specifically for me, like right now, I'm writing a lot about kind of my loss of spirituality and how, not spirituality, because I didn't lose that, but kind of my transitioning of what my spirituality has been. And then I write a lot about my sexuality as well, because I am gay. So I've written about some of that. I'm really just trying to dig very deeply into the trajectory of my life. That's kind of where I've been writing right now. I've written a lot of very angry, sad songs that sound very fun, which I like doing that. I write a lot of sad songs, but yeah. I'm a sad person. I'm very happy.
It gets out, and then
I love
it turns into happiness because you
I
release it.
I write a lot from my therapy sessions, to be honest. Like a lot of times after I have a therapy session, I will immediately try to go write, because that's when I'm my most vulnerable and raw, and I think that is...
Wow, that is a really good idea. Yeah, that is a really good idea. So let's get to your first song that we're going to listen to. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. It's actually a song that I did in the duo, Lux, with Jake Wesley Rogers. It's the last song that we wrote together. And we wrote it in a vehicle while we were riding through, I think we were in Wyoming. So it's like this beautiful mountain-esque escape of glory. And I just remember the sky was epic, and it was getting close to the end of the year and seasons were changing. So it's called I'm Not Who I Was, and yeah, it's one of my favorite songs that I've written.
Awesome. Okay guys, so we are going to go to that, and we will be right back.
It's a hole in the sky big enough to see. It's a hole in the sky big enough to see. Don't cry for me. Who I used to be. 'Cause I'm not who I was. 'Cause I'm not who I was. Morning in the distance, it's so bright, I lost my vision. The wayward sign was written in my palm. As the season changes and I turn back on the pages, the sun might fade, but it ain't ever lost. I'm my favorite, I ain't ever lost. Don't cry for me. Who I used to be. 'Cause I'm not who I was. 'Cause I'm not who I was. Don't cry for me. Who I used to be. Oh, 'cause I'm not who I was. 'Cause I'm not who I
Hey guys, we are back with Ivy King. So let's talk about the music industry part of it, since you travel around. And I know, you can't just play; you have to do the business side too. So, do you have a manager, or do you do all this stuff yourself?
I do not have a band manager at this point. I am still doing all of my managing, self-managed.
Self-managed, and how difficult or easy is that?
You know, it is what it is. So I think, like, I think that band management, at least this is my opinion, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. Business industry is very tricky. For me, I think it's really important that I learn how to market myself, and that I learn how to promote myself and contact venues and set up show dates and show, scheduling and all that stuff. I think it's important. That way, when you do look for a band manager, you know already how to do it. So you're not really completely reliant on them. Also, you can make sure to question them appropriately to make sure that they are going to provide you a service that you can't already do yourself. For me, I'll be looking for a band manager when I feel like I've outgrown doing the process myself.
So, what do you do to promote yourself?
Right now, because of COVID, not a whole lot. To be honest, I've just been, Instagram, stuff like that, trying to stay active in that. But I've kind of taken a step back right now just so I can work on music and try to get, since I only have one song recorded right now by myself, I've just been working on recording right now.
Well, that's a really excellent idea anyways, because when everything starts getting back to some normalcy,
Right.
you'll be prepared.
Yes. Yeah. My goal is to be releasing singles, and that way I'll have like a solid enough EP to go perform and open for people once the world is open.
When it's open again. So obviously before COVID and stuff, where else have you played in the U.S.?
So I did a tour with a girl named Chapel Roan, who was signed to Atlantic Records. I tried out for her and actually was her drummer for a tour with, we were the opening band for Declan McKenna. He's a artist from the UK, but we did a US tour. They came here from the UK and we traveled for 2.5 months, I believe, and we had like 60 dates. We pretty much played every single day, so we traveled everywhere.
So how hard do you feel like that is touring and everything?
So I don't know, like I really enjoy it. It definitely can take a toll on you, especially touring with like people that you don't know. So I've never toured as a band. Lux, we did some touring, but it was never, we like would fly places and then come back to Springfield. We did a lot of weekend or road warrioring.
Yeah.
I had never done something to this capacity of a constant tour, being gone for 2.5 months. The most difficult parts of that for me, at least, because I didn't mind being gone, other than missing my wife that I had just gotten married to.
Yeah.
The biggest part that was difficult was traveling and learning like etiquette with other bands, because I was just a hired drummer. So where is your place in that? And then even as a being the opening band for Declan McKenna has a very large following. So being the opening band for that and kind of just seeing your dynamic with all of these other people is very interesting. Because we were in a tour van for 2.5 months with people I really didn't know at all. So.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure you have some stories on that. I mean, what sticks out the most on that tour?
Oh my gosh.
Any fun, or just I cannot believe that happened. Stories?
It was honestly a pretty mild like tour. Nothing crazy happened.
Wow.
Yeah. No, nothing crazy really happened. Everybody in those bands were really young. So that probably kept people out of a lot of trouble. The coolest thing was traveling with like people from Europe, to be honest, because the cultural differences there was really fun to get to experience. Nothing wild.
Nothing wild.
Sorry to disappoint.
What was your favorite place to play on that tour?
I loved playing in. Let me think about that. California was great. I really liked this venue that we played in San Diego. It was one of the biggest venues that we played there, and actually Dallas, Texas. There was just like a vibe in the air. The crowds were extremely into it. They were two of the biggest crowds that we had. And I think by that point, especially the one in San Diego, I think people had finally started listening to Chapel's music. Not that they weren't before, but like I think people were preparing themselves for the opener, and so a lot of people were singing along to an artist they had never seen before, which was pretty cool. It's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. So with traveling as much as you have with your music and everything, what do you find different with Springfield than like another major city?
It's kind of hard for me to differentiate that because I was playing on a highly professional level. Not to say that the other things that I have done before are not professional, but there's a very clear-cut difference between an Atlantic record tour and a self-promoted tour. I was working with industry people, so there were industry labels and things coming in like that. That was the major difference, which that is a whole other world comparatively to what I've been doing here with Lux or even myself, or even Mixtapes. Like, it's just a very
night and day.
Yeah, it's night and day. I mean, you're working with the machine versus working with local support and local talent. So that was the biggest difference. It wasn't necessarily the cities that I played in, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So is there anything that you feel like Springfield is lacking to become, sought after, people coming out here, versus other places that you played?
Unfortunately, Springfield has, and I guess I can say this because I'm in a cover band. Springfield has gotten to the point where it feels as though people would rather go see a cover band than they would go see original artists. It hasn't seemed like there's as much support. While I have gotten great support here before, like Lux we had huge fan support, which blew my mind. It's amazing. Turning bands into cover bands all of the time here, I really feel has done Springfield kind of a disservice in making Springfield a hub for music.
What do you feel would help musicians that play original music? What do you feel would help them play here in Springfield and bring out the crowd? Not a huge crowd, because again, Springfield is likely to go to cover bands versus somebody that does original music. But do you feel like there's something that original artist could do to bring excitement and to bring these people out that would normally go to cover bands?
Sure. Yeah. So some of the stuff that I did early on with Lux was we played with a lot of other original bands, tried to find bands who were similar to our music and play with them. We also did a lot of giveaway stuff to try to get people to come out.
What kind of giveaway stuff did you do?
We would do like free t-shirts, or like if you would tag your friends in certain amounts of in our posts, or if you would invite people to our events, we would put you in a drawing for free t-shirts or free merch or a free ticket to the show. We took ourselves very seriously. Like, we knew we were trying to draw new people out. So we made it a business. I mean, we ultimately were constantly trying to promote ourselves in a way that is getting new people out.
Does it make a difference where you would play, do you think?
Early on, like, we literally would play anywhere. And I would say that to anybody who's starting out. And like, when I started doing Ivy King, when I became this person in music, like, I said yes to everything. And I'm still at a point of saying yes to most everything. Like, I won't turn stuff down. I'm not saying play for free forever, because do not play for free. That is one of the biggest things I've seen in Springfield. Actually, is too many people playing for free, or too many venues taking advantage of the fact that people will play for free, and then they don't want to pay anybody. So that could be, it's kind of like you have to do it in tandem. Like, yes, I will do everything, but I will not play for free forever. You kind of start growing, so then you start saying no to certain things that you kind of outgrow. But in the beginning, I would say yes to every venue. One of my favorite places to play was at the Dugout, and it's a dive bar.
Yeah.
So
it just didn't really matter where you go. It's just as long as you're doing those extra little things, like doing the giveaways. And
we thought it was very beneficial for us to do that stuff. We grew. I mean, we started with 5 people that were friends and family at our shows here, and ended up growing to where we were having 250 people show to shows, which is crazy. I still can't believe we did that in Springfield. It's like a huge honor to me that people would come out for that, because like we touched on.
Yeah.
A lot of Springfield people have gotten really used to the cover band thing, which is so comfortable. We know the music, so it's fun to go out and do it. It's an experience to go see an original artist, which that's our job as artists, to make it an experience for people that they want to pay for a show to see.
So is there anything about Springfield that you wish that they would start doing more so for the music industry, the local music industry? Because I mean, Springfield in general is very rich in music.
Sure.
And lots of history of it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you could see just right off the bat? It's like, hey, if you do this, that would show appreciation for everybody that's working their asses off around here, trying to entertain.
Yeah. I will always come back to pay artists, at least pay them something. Don't shit on artists, like where you say you're going to pay them and then don't, because that happens. And then promote artists too. Like, I think that a lot of times venues want people to come play at their place and they expect the artist to promote it, but then the venue net doesn't promote it. And that's not the case for all venues, because we have some great promoters in Springfield. But I'm just saying, in general, it's a two-way street. Like, if I get people to come and you get people to come, like, we both win. Like, everybody's going to make more money. Everyone's going to be more entertained. There's going to be a better vibe. So I think it's if venues would promote artists and not just put up a poster. Putting up a poster is great, but
how do you think they should promote the artists more?
Facebook's still like great. Your Facebook, your Instagram, not doing it the day of the show, doing it a little bit before. The Royal here in town does a great job of promoting artists. Like, I've had such great success with them at my shows. Granted, they're doing tiny little shows because of COVID right now, but they've been wonderful to work with, because they constantly are posting on their Instagram, like, hey, we have this artist coming. Hey, we have this artist coming. Hey, we have this artist coming. They, like, BJ he constantly is posting on their Instagram, hey, we have this artist coming. Hey, we have this artist coming. And, like, I know that it can get very hard, especially as an artist, to want to constantly promote yourself. It feels like you're inundating people with your content, which, I overthink that sometimes. But it takes somebody seeing that there's an artist at a place more than one time for them to be like, oh yeah, I should go buy that ticket. Because we all do that. We're like scrolling through our phones and it's like, oh, Ivy's at this place, like, that's cool. And then you're busy and you forget.
Completely
forget about it. So if venues would post about things more frequently than just the day before, that would be, I think, a huge help to artists. And same for artists. Like, don't expect people to show up to your show if you haven't been inviting them on Facebook, if you haven't been sending personal messages. I did that a lot, like, for early on shows when I first started, because ultimately you want people there. Like, nobody wants to play to nobody.
Right. So you're saying that you did have merch. Is there a certain merch item that sold the best besides t-shirts?
We had stickers that were great. Yeah, they're really cheap, and you can get them made very, very cheap, and you can make decent money on them. And they're cheap to sell. You can sell, anybody will spend $3 to $5 on a sticker.
Right, a sticker, yeah.
So, yeah.
Stickers, guys. Stickers. Okay, so let's get you your next song.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about that one.
Sure. This is a ballad that I just wrote, which is a big shift from my first single, City Girl, which is good with me. It's all encompassing. I'm both fun and, I guess, sad ballad girl. So it's an unreleased song. I'm going to perform it for you. I don't have a title for it yet. I've just been calling it the ballad. This is the first song that I'm working with some producers on. One of them's from LA and the other one's from Austin, and I'm really excited to be working on it with them. But I have no title for it. It's the ballad, and it's I wrote it after a therapy session, and it's kind of about duality of humanity. It is about an ex of mine. I write about that quite a bit. This specific ex, honestly, and writing how there was just kind of this shift in me where, we can see people very black and white sometimes. Like, it's very easy to do. We all do it. We see situations black and white all the time. It's more comfortable that way. And I finally feel like the shift of it's not so black and white with why we had issues or why she did certain things, even if they were very terrible things. There's a lot more grayness in there for me and a lot more grace for her. So one of the lines in there is, maybe you weren't bad, maybe you were just trying to be sane. And so it's kind of a shift inside of myself. That's what this song represents to me. Hope you enjoy it.
Okay, well, we will get to that song and we'll be back.
How many wedding dresses can you hide inside your body? I used to think it was far too many, but I bet you 100 more. Nobody tells the truth of the story, especially in already. 'Cause when you left me, everything changed for the good. Damn, I'm so good. Maybe you aren't bad, were you? Trying to be sane. Either way, I'm glad you didn't stay. I'm glad you didn't stay. How many versions of you did I have to bury? I used to think it was far too many, but I bled out 100 more. Nobody tells the truth anymore, especially in already. 'Cause when you left me, everything changed for the good. Damn, I'm so good. Maybe you aren't bad, were you? Trying to be sane. Either way, I'm glad we all take hard chances, take our time. Some of us regret it, some of us get it right. Are we all just taking chances? Tell me I'll get second guesses. I pray to Mother for your blessings. I pray you got right. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, So when you left me, maybe you're not bad, were you? Trying to be sane. Either way, I'm glad you didn't stay. I'm glad you didn't stay.
So we are back, and thank you for that song. Let's get into, advice. What kind of advice can you give to people that have never done music before but are super interested in just getting out there? Have no idea what instrument they want to play. They just want to play because they just have a love of music and seeing the other performers out there.
Yeah.
What advice would you give that person?
Practice a lot. seriously, practice more than you probably think. What they say, it takes 10,000 hours to be versed in something. I still feel sometimes that it takes longer than that. Yeah, practice is a big thing. Nobody wants to see somebody fumbling through a show, and there's a difference between fumbling in like a way that's like, oh, this is new and that's okay, because believe me, like when I started doing Ivy King by myself, it's I had never played keyboards in front of anyone, and keyboards are pretty new to me. So it was scary as hell, to be very honest. And, then that's okay. Like, pushing through that is good. But I still practice at home to make sure that when I was in front of people, I was putting on the best show that I possibly could at that state that I was in at that time, which constantly, hopefully, is progressing.
Right.
Yeah, but practice is a big one.
So did you start off with open mics? Or did you just get in the band and they're like, hey, let's do this?
So luckily, through just knowing people, which is huge, I think that's still the biggest way to get in anywhere, is knowing people, making friends, being nice to people. Luckily, because I had played drums in other bands and was already in Lux, and people knew that I had toured with Chaperone, I was kind of able to get some shows pretty easily for Ivy King, because people knew my reputation of like, oh, she's gonna show up prepared, at least, even if it's not good. She's
gonna show up. That's a big thing.
She's gonna show up, and she's not gonna be fully wasted through her show. Let's have her here.
We can count on her.
Yes. So that helped me get shows immediately as Ivy King, which was nice because I knew people.
Yeah. So advice you would give to new people trying to even get into shows is just network.
Playing anywhere. I think I said something about that earlier. Don't say no to anything. Try to open for people. That's huge. Like when I start playing as Ivy King, I will no longer. I don't want to be the headliner, like for real, when I'm going back out. I'd like to go do, a soft launch of myself, really, where I play 4 or 5 songs and I'm the opener. It's kind of generally the rule of thumb of how to get started. Doing that. Open mics are great. I just heard about one that you guys were just telling me about here. Yeah. When is that? First Wednesday?
It's the first Thursday. Yeah, first Wednesday of every month at the Riff.
Oh, cool.
Called the Rounds. So it's a singer-songwriter showcase, songwriter showcase, and they just get together, and it's different all the time, different lineup all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They jam together, play their own music, and it's really, really neat.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that Springfield has something like that. There's several places. This place in LA that I like a lot called Hotel Cafe, and they do that. It's like an industry night type of thing where they just have like 3 or 4 artists that will perform that evening. But it's all like singer-songwriter stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think there's so many of them out there. It's just people don't really realize it.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, I want to go see.
Which is cool, too, because especially if you're a musician only, let's say you're not like the singer or the songwriter. Right. If you go to some of these singer-songwriter nights and you see someone that you like, and you play the drums, you can present yourself to them as like, hey, I loved your stuff. Like, do you have a band yet? I'd love to try out. Which, that's what I was doing when I was going to LA, or when I was in LA this last time. I was going for that very purpose, to meet people. That way I could introduce myself and hopefully try out to be drummer for them, because I don't know anybody in LA yet. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. So yeah, guys that need a band or would like to start a band, go to the singer-songwriter showcase that they have at the Riff the first Wednesday of every month. So what other kind of advice can you give to people that are trying to write songs that have never written a song before? Is there like a formula of doing songwriting?
Yes. I would, I started writing songs not that long ago, to be honest. I was 26, 27 before I really started writing. I would just say just start. Read a lot. Reading a lot has helped me write better. There's songwriting books that you can get about how to write catchy hooks and formulas of songs, because there is a formula to song writing if you're going to do it well.
Yeah.
You have to know the formula before you can break the rules, I think, is
that makes sense.
how I feel about it. I think just writing and being vulnerable, and then just continue to keep practicing it. Practicing songwriting is something that's made me better. I've seen over the last year and a half the progression of my writing, and it's changed exponentially because I try to make a practice of myself writing every single day, even if it's bad, just doing it. Because we all get inspiration, right? Like, we are all inspired at some points. And those are the beautiful moments where it's like, oh my God, the muse has hit, and you write or whatever. But the practicing helps you stick to the formula and write better, I think. Don't be scared to be vulnerable. And I think, at least for me and other songwriters that I know, I think that it's always kind of scary to put your art out there. If you're an artist, it's going to hurt. It feels like your soul is being bared to the world, and it really is, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So just keep doing it and know that you're not alone, because even people who you might think that they have it all together, and people I assume think that I'm not nervous when I'm doing things sometimes, and I do. I get nervous. It's hard to do, so just keep doing it.
Do you get nervous every time for a show?
That was more so about the songwriting process of even showing people stuff. I'm always are they gonna think this is good? Is this good? So I just started writing for my own self, and if I like it, then I'm fine with it, to share with people. But yes, I get nervous every time. Not playing drums as much anymore.
Because you've been doing it so long.
Yeah, I've been doing it so long. I feel like I'm truly a professional at that, which is a great feeling. It took me a long time to get there. And I'm not by any means being I'm the best, whatever, because I'm not. But I feel confident in that, where I'm not as nervous. I do get nervous sometimes. Generally in smaller rooms, TBH. Big rooms is they're all out there. But my solo stuff, yes, I get very nervous every time.
Yes. So is there any other kind of advice that you could give any upcoming musicians out there about, booking themselves, how to go about doing that, especially in Springfield, and then, kind of going outside of Springfield to a place they've never networked?
Man, I don't know. If anybody has some good advice for me, they should let me know. For me, it's just been meeting people and be nice to people. It helps a lot. It's all been about relationships for me. There's not a single venue or show that I have gotten, other than a few that have been out of state or whatever, or tryout. I've done some tryouts where I got to go play out of state for some things. But there's been nothing that I have played at that didn't come from a relationship. Even the tour with Atlantic Records, I got that because I knew her. I had been nice to her.
So guys out there, there is a common theme in all these behind the scenes. Is everybody says network, network, network. So if you are not networking, you're not going to make it.
It's true.
It's
network
true.
And be a nice person. Don't be a shithead.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be a shithead, people. Do you have any other advice to give, or anything else you would like to add?
Just leave it at don't be a shithead.
Just don't be a shithead, people. Okay, so where can people find you on the interweb?
YouTube. You can stream my music video there, and then I'm on all streaming services. If you just type in I.V King.
And do you have any upcoming shows in the next month, besides the one that has probably already passed by the time this comes out.
Yep.
Well, actually, it is, because you're having the show tonight.
The show.
Yeah, tonight. So it's definitely going to already have passed.
You guys cannot come.
You can't come.
Not
Sorry.
allowed to come.
So
Sorry.
do you know when your next one is for the mixtapes?
Mixtapes, April 30th in Monette.
Monette. Okay.
Everything's kind of still all over the place
Because of
COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I am not actively scheduling anything for myself right now. But music should be coming out in the next couple months.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you again for being with us, and we're going to talk about your very last song that's going to play us out. I mean, okay, so this video is pretty dang amazing, you know? So how long did it take you? Tell me all about it.
Oh boy. We only had one Zoom meeting about it. I did the video with Brandon Goodwin and Andy Luttrell, and Blend Studios, which is part of Brandon Goodwin's whole business. We had one Zoom meeting about it. Brandon put the idea out there about doing it backwards. I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Don't ever do that to yourself. It is so hard.
You had to learn, you said you had to learn the whole song backwards? Like saying the words?
Yes. You have to sing them backwards.
Wow.
So that lines up with what you're doing.
Okay, can you say like just one line backwards?
Here's there one, grab on, here's two, That is one.
Oh my God.
You're a city girl, I'm a city girl.
Oh my God. That is crazy.
Very interesting.
And how long did it take in all?
It took us, I think, 14 hours.
14 hours.
Yeah, everything had to be done in one take as well because of the fact that it was moving backwards and paint was involved. So my wife, Shelby, ended up being the city girl, the bad boy, which is really fun for us to get to do together. Also, I'm sure she loved smearing paint. And I was freezing, so I'm sure she was enjoying torturing me.
Right.
But everything had to be done in one take because once the paint moved, it couldn't. Or like once she ripped part of my shirt off at a point, which since it was backward, it looked like it was coming on.
Yeah.
Once something moved, it was done.
That was done.
So what we did, because there was no way I could do the whole thing. We couldn't do it all in one take. That would have been nuts. So Brandon had that idea at first, and I was like, "There's no way. There's no way."
Yeah.
So what we did is we broke everything up into sections. After writing it out on a whiteboard, it took a lot of planning the day of for that. Because the only section that wasn't filmed backward was me playing the drums. That was the only thing that was forward. Thank God. I don't know if I could have done that.
Yeah, that would be weird.
That would have been very interesting. So we planned the whole thing backwards. So we had to start. It's crazy. Yeah, you have to start at the very end of the song and work our way to the very beginning. And so we did little segments of me singing the weirdest words backwards. And so I would do it. They put it on the camera. They put a little whiteboard above the camera with the phonetic spelling of the words. I would sing it until I felt like I was comfortable singing it the weird backwards way. They would watch my mouth to make sure it was lining up because we had another camera that was with me singing it forward that I had pre-recorded. They would watch my mouth and they were like, okay, you finally have it. I would do it 3 times in a row, and on the 3rd time is when we were live that time. So I would do it, it would go through again, it was on a click, so that segment would just keep going over and over and over. So here's there one, grab on a hair to do it number 2. And then on the 3rd one, if nobody was like, whoa, I'm not comfortable, because at certain points, I did that a few times, like, because on the 3rd time, Shelby would come in with the paint or rip my shirt. Yeah. So I'd be like, no, I'm not ready. But it was nutso. So on the 3rd time, she would then do whatever. There was like a confetti cannon at a certain point. She dumped a half a gallon of paint on my head at the very end of the day, which looks like it's lifting off of me. There was no heat in the building. It was very cold. I cried in the shower. It was
oh my God.
Brilliant.
So lots of pain.
Lots of pain.
Lots of
But
play
it
that
turned
came
out
into it. Came out amazing.
I also couldn't see anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
am I doing this right? And they're like,
Yeah.
it looks great. I'm like, okay, I hope so. So
Wow.
I couldn't have done it without them. They were amazing. Masterminds.
Awesome.
Had nothing to do with it.
Awesome. Well, guys, that song is going to play us out. And thank you once again for joining us for Behind the Scene. And I hope you have a great show tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
None of you can come.
Yeah, none of you could come. Sorry. But again, you have been watching Behind the Scene, and this is Ivy King. Make sure to check her out on interweb, and we will have all that information in the description. So until next time, we will see you later.